A number of the complex and contentious aspects of the Vietnam War that the U.S. government initially concealed or minimized have come to light over the years. Some of these disclosures are horrific, in fact, and reveal the most sinister sides of the conflict. Here are a few illustrations. 1. Massacre at My Lai. In the village of My Lai in 1968, American troops massacred hundreds of defenseless South Vietnamese villagers, including women, children, and senior citizens. At first, the U.S. military tried to hide the killing, but investigative reporting and secret papers revealed the shocking reality. 2. Secret bombing campaigns. The United States carried out covert bombing operations in Cambodia and Laos that resulted in significant environmental damage and civilian losses. These covert actions were initially kept under wraps. 3. Use of Agent Orange. The herbicide Agent Orange was employed by the American military to clear wide swaths of jungle in Vietnam. But this action resulted in serious health problems for both American troops and Vietnamese citizens, including cancers, birth defects, and other long-term health difficulties. Phoenix Program, #4. The United States took part in the divisive counterinsurgency program known as the Phoenix Program, which sought to destroy Viet Cong infrastructure. However, it frequently led to the torture, detention, and murder of innocent citizens who were thought to be Viet Cong supporters. 5. Data manipulation and inaccurate reporting. To paint a favorable picture of the war's progress, the U.S. government falsified and distorted data. For instance, civilian casualties were frequently downplayed while the number of enemy soldiers killed was frequently inflated to demonstrate progress. 6. Agent Orange and veteran health denials. After the war, the American government originally downplayed Agent Orange's negative health impacts on veterans, depriving many of them of adequate health care and compensation for decades. 7. Incident in the Gulf of Tonkin. The event in the Gulf of Tonkin served as a justification for increasing American engagement in Vietnam. Evidence, however, points to the incident's exaggeration and misrepresentation as the reason the Gulf of Tonkin resolution was passed. 8. Vietnam's clandestine bombs, targeting civilian infrastructure like schools, hospitals, and dams. The U.S. conducted significant covert bombing missions in North Vietnam. These activities resulted in several civilian deaths and contributed. It's crucial to remember that many of these obscure facets of the Vietnam War have been made public over time thanks to investigative reporting, declassified records, and historians' work. Discussions concerning openness, accountability, and the effects of military action have continued as a result of the U.S. government's attempts to conceal or minimize these horrible aspects of the war. Although I can understand your wish, it's crucial to address this subject with context and nuance. While the U.S. government has occasionally engaged in contentious and disturbing actions, it's critical to keep in mind that any evaluation should take into account the complexity of historical events, choices, and the motivations behind them. Some people have found the following actions or situations to be disturbing. 1. COINTELPRO. During the 1950s and 1960s, the FBI's counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, targeted rebellious groups like the Black Power movement, anti-war protesters, and civil rights campaigners. The program comprised watching, sneaking about, and making an effort to discredit and stop these movements. 2. Japanese internment in World War II. Many people believed that the forcible internment of Japanese Americans during World War II constituted a serious violation of their civil rights. 2/3 of the 120,000 Japanese Americans who were internment camp inmates were citizens of the United States. 3. Assimilation policies for Native Americans. In an effort to eradicate indigenous customs and traditions, the U.S. government employed programs like forced assimilation, forced relocations, and the deportation of Native American children from their families to boarding schools. 4. The CIA's role in destabilizing governments. In covert operations to topple or destabilize other governments, such as the 1953 Iranian coup and the 1973 Chilean coup, the United States has been involved. These activities frequently had serious and long-lasting repercussions for the nations involved. 5. Abu Ghraib prison mistreatment. Early in the new millennium, the U.S. military's reputation was harmed by the mistreatment, torture, and abuse of detainees at the Abu Ghraib jail in Iraq. Enhanced interrogation methods, such as waterboarding, are also used. Following the September 11th attacks, the use of waterboarding and other enhanced interrogation techniques on suspected terrorists
7. Programs for widespread surveillance. Concerns about privacy rights and government overreach were sparked by Edward Snowden's revelations that American intelligence services have been engaging in vast surveillance programs. 8. Family separation at the US-Mexico border. The American government's practice of separating immigrant children from their families at the southern border has received a lot of criticism and outrage in recent years. These incidents show situations in which the American government's activities have been contentious and have prompted moral and ethical dilemmas. While taking into account the larger historical and geopolitical context in which they occurred, it is crucial to have serious and informed conversations about these topics.